I'm Tim,
I'm Jonah,
and welcome to Boheim Baseball.
and today we are recapping the last 2 days of the wild card series.
Yep, last two games of the wild card series is officially over. We know who's advancing. Time for the division series.
And only one team with home advantage actually won.
Which is completely surprising. I don't know the statistics historically for how that happens, but that was surprising.
Yeah, very surprising, but it happens. Stats are meant to be broken. That's why they exist, is to be broken. First game of the day, I guess, went to 15 innings.
Insane.
Broke the record for strikeouts in a game. Postseason game. Granted, postseason game. But it ended up with SpongeBob Man himself, Oscar Gonzalez, hitting a walk-off home run.
Yeah, in the playoffs, I think this was the longest game held scoreless in the playoffs.
Yeah, crazy
Insane
stuff.
game. Pitching was on point, or the hitting just couldn't hit it. I remember, I was watching this game, and then suddenly the Blue Jays game already had 3-4 runs in. I was like, maybe I'm just watching the wrong game.
No, you're fine. But fine. In the Seattle though. Didn't start off hot for them. Blue Jays were really dominating. And yeah, it wasn't looking good for them. And then, little magic happened.
Blue Jays scored the first 4 runs.
Down 8-1 at one point.
8-1.
But, the Mariners, they believe. And when you believe, it's crazy the type of things that can happen.
Absolutely.
So, the Mariners came back!
The bullpen of the Blue Jays,
not good.
It's not going to be there next season. They're getting rid of it all and replacing it.
I want to get rid of all of it. I like Yami Garcia.
Jordan Romero's decent, but
he took the loss, so I don't know about how decent he is.
It was a sad day for Blue Jays relief pitching.
Blue Jay baseball altogether, probably.
Yeah.
Honest. Mariners won. Good for them. I'm excited for the next series. They've shown that they can compete, and they've shown they have the heart. That's when it got to 8-1, I was like, okay, the game's kind of over, but I want to see what type of fight they have in them. So I kept it playing, and I'm glad I did, because it was an incredible game. Incredible game. Next game, the Mets retaliated, beat the Padres 3-7.
Tied up the series.
DeGrom pitched all right. They got some good offense from their hitters, though, which was good to see coming from Game 1, where they didn't get the best offense. But their offense showed up and enabled them to win. Mad Max didn't pitch, so their pitching was a lot better. Pete Alonso hit a home run. Everyone kind of chipped in all around. Trent Grisham's been really good, though.
Keeps for San Diego, he's helping the offense out. Tatis isn't there to help him, so, Trent Grisham's there to show up.
Yeah, so all around good offense. Last game of the day, the Phillies shut out the Cardinals to sweep them.
Yeah, they came in and they just didn't let up runs.
And if you're keeping track, you might have noticed all of my playoff predictions so far as of Saturday were perfect. 3 for 3. And the other series was tied 1-1. And you wondering how I guessed those. I would say I could tell the future, but you all know what happened the next day. And if you don't, it ruined it. But yeah, the Phillies looked good. Aaron Nola dominated. Cardinals hitting just wasn't there. Arenado, Goldschmidt just weren't there that series. Was the big plus for them that game though? That Yachty wasn't the last out. If Yachty was the last out 2 games in a row to end off his career, that's not a good look. Not a good look that they couldn't advance out of the first round, but the Phillies move on to go and beat the Braves. Play the Braves. And yeah, I like the Phillies team. They showed that they'll grind stuff out. They've shown they have their 2 aces.
I don't know. I don't know if it was good pitching or just Cardinals not hitting.
Well, good pitching causes teams not to hit.
I think it was more bad hitting than it was great pitching.
Well, they're 2 great pitchers. Nola and Wheeler are both 2 ERA pitchers. If their offense can kind of show up, they're looking good with those starts. I'm not sure about when Suarez and Syndergaard pitch, but with those 2, it's looking pretty good for them. Versus the Braves, though, with their pitching, it'll be interesting to see how they match up. especially if Kenley Jansen keeps it up in the bullpen and he doesn't choke a save like the Cardinals did their first game.
Or really just if Spencer Strider's back for the Braves.
I think he'll be back. He just signed that extension. I think he's going to be fine. But then Sunday, the Mets could not hit the dang ball. One hit.
Joe Musgrove came and showed up for the Friars.
They did check his ears though.
They did. That was something. Like, imagine like you go out there, your pitch is like, hey, we have to check your ears.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Like, I would not enjoy that as a pitcher.
Yeah, what did McCutcheon sent something out? It was sometimes pitchers put like hot stuff on their ears or something like that to make it so they're like more in the moment. I don't know exactly how it works, but yeah, he had hot stuff on his ears. Not too much to see there.
Yeah.
The Padres win. This is the series I got wrong. Looking back on it, I should have seen some of the signs. The Mets offense during the last couple weeks was not where it was earlier in the season. And the Padres pitching was a little better, especially near the end. But we'll see how it holds up next series, we'll see how that holds up. Anyway, it was an interesting wild card series. I think it shows that anything can happen in the playoffs, and the playoff is a whole new season for some players like Trent Grisham. Incredible 3-game series. Had an RBI in every single game. Juan Soto came out and hit, I think, 400 for the Padres. So that's good to see for them. But, yeah, it shows that playoffs can turn into a different ball game, just like how Cody Bellinger is going to go crazy in the next series.
Yeah, if you're hot going into the playoffs, that can carry over. It doesn't matter how great of a season or if you're good enough to make the playoffs and you're hot going into it, that can carry you.
Or sometimes it's the other way around. Like the Phillies, they came in, they weren't hot, they were good enough to make the playoffs, and then they became hot in the postseason.
I don't know if they really became hot. They didn't blow up in any game. They played. There was 2 teams that struggled the last few weeks of the season.
Yeah.
So there are 2 teams both struggling. I don't think the Phillies, they have more momentum now, but there was no really Philly momentum throughout the series.
I don't know. I don't know. The Philly team showed that they're here to play. I think that's what they showed, that they've kind of left the rest of the season behind them, and I think they're ready to win.
They weren't really dominant in either of their games, though.
They weren't dominant, but I think even their scrappiness of just putting the games together somehow will make it a little tough on the Braves. Yes, I know the Braves are a pretty big opposing foe, but I feel like they can put some stuff together. We'll see. It's the playoffs. You never know. Anyway, AL, the matchup is Guardians-Yankees, and then it will be the Astros and Mariners. So, great baseball coming up all around. Who was the player that most surprised you from the wild card?
I mean, Cal Raleigh showed up for...
Cal Raleigh was incredible for the Mariners.
He was. He came in and he contributed. He's one of the reasons that they're able to get enough offense to get past the Blue Jays.
He wasn't a catcher that started every day, but he really showed out. We all know he can hit home runs, but he was even putting together like key clutch hits. And that was really big for the Mariners. I would say, I don't know, there's a lot of good players that series. I would say maybe I really thought Eugenio Suarez showed up as well. He had some key pivotal moments for the Mariners in that series as well. So we both chose Mariners players. So
well, it's kind of
it's
an
hard
easy option when they score that many runs.
Yeah, and it's hard to pick a pitcher because it's like one start.
Yeah, it's one start, and sometimes other teams just don't show up. You don't really see them like dominate people, just get easy strikeouts. But
yeah,
I mean, if you're looking at like the best pitch series, like I don't know, I would go over and it's gonna be Rays Guardians.
It's gonna be Rays Guardians.
Like with how much, like even though the offenses never really showed up for either team, that was probably the best pitch series just for the amount of strikeouts, and really it's hard to keep a team scoreless inning after inning for 14 innings. Yeah. Even if the offenses don't show up, 14 innings is a long time to be held scoreless.
It's 15.
Well, the bottom of the 15th is when the run was scored.
Well, yeah, but one team was held 15 innings.
Yeah.
Who was the most disappointing player for you?
I guess on the disappointing side, if you look at the Cardinals, the two, both guys top of the MVP race, they could go 1 and 2 in the MVP race this season, and neither of them had an extra base hit.
Yeah, that was pretty disappointing. I'll admit that. Mine's different. Mine's Alek Manoah. I was expecting Alek Manoah to come out and pitch a scoreless outing his first outing, and he didn't do that. I know you might be like, oh, you can't expect that. It's his first time in the postseason, but I kind of expected that out of him, and I was like, yeah, pressure things he put in tires. I was really excited about him. I know he's a really confident player and everything. I thought he'd come out and show up, but, it just wasn't there for him that game, but I'd say that's my most disappointing. Saddest moments, though. Our saddest moments are Corey Kluber letting up the walk-off off his former team. He'll be in even more Guardians highlights. So, great pitcher for them, I don't know how to think about that. It's a weird feeling. I wonder how Guardians fans feel, because you're like, that's the guy that you loved for so many years, and then you walk off for him. I don't know how that would feel. I don't know how I'd feel if I was Kluber. It would be interesting, because you're like, oh, it's the team I used to play for. I had my best years there, so you kind of have this place in your heart for them. But at the same time, they walked you off, dog. Oscar Gonzalez destroyed that baseball. And he was a player coming into the playoffs I said to watch out for in Cleveland.
And really, you can't really feel that bad going into it either, because you
it
pitched
wasn't his
a few
fault.
scoreless innings and your offense just didn't show up.
Yeah,
one run isn't a whole lot.
It wasn't his fault. I gotta say that. Kluber, it was not your fault in any sort of way. The team should have done something.
Was that the first hit they got off him too? It's
I think so.
3 innings. That was the first hit. No,
2 or 3 innings.
It's your team. Your team's not showing up to help you.
Yeah. Another sad moment was Pujols and Yachty's last games. Too bad it ended in a loss, but we kind of expected it would. But it's too bad,
I mean, they out-hit the MVPs just sitting in the middle of their lineup.
World Series would have been really fun for them, but, it's over, but,
Do you know what I'm pretty sad about?
What?
Cardinals played 2 games and we never saw Jack Flaherty come in.
We know you're a big fan, okay?
We should have seen Jack Flaherty at least once.
We know you're a big fan, okay? Anyway, yeah, that's about it for the day. Tomorrow we'll come in, we'll give some more predictions on this next series, and right before the games start, and we'll be watching most of the games, listening, whatever, and paying close attention, and we will come back to you with all that stuff and recap it the next morning before the next playoff games. And games start tomorrow, which is crazy. Early in the morning on Fox is the first game. So tune in. We'll be watching. Maybe just me, because you have other stuff, right?
What time is it?
I think it starts 11 something.
I won't be available at 11. I will try to sneak some baseball, throw my hair over an earphone. It'll happen.
Anyway, thank you guys for watching, listening, whatever you're doing, and we will see you guys next time.